About right now.
Take your time. Is this one's finished?
I'm gonna say,
If not, we'll get another one. We have plenty left over, okay? I'll get it out of the way.
How are you doing?
You weren't finished. I just keep going.
No, I'm finished.
Okay.
All right, if I can have your attention, please continue eating. We don't want to interrupt you to the point where you cannot enjoy your food. But we will begin the program at this time. First of all, I'd like, if you guys are at a point where you can stop for just a second. All of our athletes and coaches, please stand up. Thank you very much. This event is for these guys. I also will mention our varsity men's basketball program could not be here tonight. They're playing at UNA. And our bowling team is in Danville, Kentucky, competing this weekend as well. I'm Will Lowry. I'm the athletic director here at Blue Mountain College. And I have the great honor to present our speaker for tonight. But before we do that, just some household items. We do have the bathrooms out to the right and to the left. And switch that for you as you're looking at it. And so I wanted to offer thanks to our sponsors for the night. Mr. Joe Estes with the Magnolia Business Center and Eagle Capital Corporation. They could not be here tonight, but they were an instrumental part in making this happen. And also the Martin Woman from Corinth and Tupelo, Jonathan Marsh, Wayne Avery, Jim Brown, and Stephen Eaton. If you guys will give them a hand, please. So pulling something like this off is not easy, and it takes all the support that we can grab, and that's a phenomenal. And you guys also, for you coming to this event, buying tickets, and showing your support for these athletes. We can't thank you enough just for being here and showing that support. So tonight, I have the distinct honor to introduce our speaker for this evening. Matt Deggs is the head baseball coach for the Sam Houston State Bearcats in Huntsville, Texas. Coach Deggs recently completed his fourth season where the Bearcats captured another Southland Conference championship. In his first 4 seasons as head coach, he has led the Bearcats to 3 Southland Conference championships, 2 NCAA regional appearances, and 1 NCAA super regional appearance in 2017, which was the first in school and Southland Conference history. Prior to taking over at Sam Houston State, Coach Deggs has had stints at Louisiana Lafayette, Texas A&M, and Arkansas as a hitting coach and recruiting coordinator. During those 12 years, he helped lead those teams to 11 regionals, 5 super regionals, and 2 trips to the College World Series. Deggs, long since an underdog and overachiever in every way, he has always considered it his mission to defy odds and set out and prove that nothing is impossible if you set your heart and mind to it. With faith plus action, all things are possible. That is what Coach Deggs lives by. More than wins and losses, Deggs believes in building men through his transformational coaching style. His message in a post-game conference after their season-ending loss to Florida State in the 2017 NCAA Super Regionals went viral, reaching millions of people across the world, 50 million to be exact. Despite losing 19-0, Deggs exemplified what he values more than the scoreboard, which is the character of his team and his relationship with Christ. The message was simple but powerful on all levels. It was so powerful that it inspired me to fly to Sam Houston State and interview Coach Deggs for the rest of the story. I am thrilled that you get to hear this inspirational message firsthand.
It's family, you know. For years I was a transactional coach. What can I get? What can I get? And when you get fired, it humbles you. I spent 430 days outside the game. Everybody asked, you know, you were here with the Aggies in 2011. No, I wasn't. I was fired. And I just sit there and watch the Aggies play. God has brought me full circle. and changed my life. I was dead and he saved me. And so I'm a transformational coach now. It's not about wins or losses, it's about love. It's about building men, building relationships that'll last forever. I got a second chance. This guy's a second chance guy, this guy's a second chance guy, this guy's a second chance guy. We're about building people up. You know, it's not mission Omaha, it's mission build and save lives. And that's what we're in the business of doing. This is the most unselfish, selfless group of men and families I've ever been around. This is rare in this day and age. Rare in a microwave society where it's all about entitlement and all about when do I get to play. This guy's playing with a broken left hand right now. Nobody knows that. His left hand's broken. Last year he played with a broken wrist. Last year Taylor Bean played with a broken thumb. I won't even get into the rest of the litany of injuries that are going on with this team right now. Andrew Frigier just walked up to me in the dugout and said, give my last at bat to Nate Van Dyke. Robbie Rojas gave up his last at bat so Hunter Sutherland could catch. You know, there's no greater honor. And this is, I could preach. It's what I wish our country would get back to. There's no greater honor than the sacrifice for a brother. And that encapsulates and embodies this team to a T. That's why they're so lovable.
Please put your hands together and help me welcome Mr. Coach Matt Deggs.
Thank you guys for having me here. I've got to compliment y'all first and foremost. This is my third time doing this week, and I can tell you guys since 2017 I've gone back and forth across the country, and this Will and administration and staff and everybody that helped out, this is as well put together and as nice a venue and event as I have seen. So let's give these guys a big round. And just the people, I'm ready to move here. That's my wife and kids to move again, but I'm ready to move. I mean, everybody is so nice, so gracious, and just so down to earth and humble. It reminds me of Texas. So I'm really, really honored to be here. It's amazing doing this 3 times this week, and as much as I get to do it, I'm still humbled every time I get up here and think about just how far I've come. And so thank you guys for having me. I'd like to open this up in a little bit of prayer first. Father God, in the name of Jesus, we come before you tonight. Pray for 3 things: the absolute truth, freedom, and that you would open the eyes of our hearts, dear Lord God. In the name of Jesus, amen. My favorite song right now is by Corey Asbury, Reckless Love. Has anybody heard that song or heard of that song? And in that song, Corey says that there is no shadow that he won't light up, no mountain that he won't climb up, coming after you. And he says that God's love is reckless and it's dangerous, and that he actually leaves the 99 to come after the 1. And I can personally attest to that, because the fact that I stand before you tonight is a miracle. See, just 7 years ago, if you'd have said, hey, look, you're going to be out in Tupelo, Mississippi, and you're going to be speaking to Blue Mountain College, a Christian university, about your redemption story, I'd have called you a liar and said you were crazy. That's just the way it was. I was dead. I was close to death. Not only that, I wanted to die. I was that gone, that far lost, that far without hope, and living that dark a life that I didn't want to live anymore. And I would have to sleep next to my then 5-year-old Chloe. just to feel her heartbeat at night. I would sleep next to her and hold her tight and just pray that I could make it one more day. And God looked down, kind of like he told Lazarus. He said, "Get up, boy, let's go." And I'm here to tell you, and this is why I speak, and this is why I share God's story. And that's why I share my story of what God has planted in me, 15 to 28. God's promises are real. And that's why I share it, because inevitably, every room that I encounter, every place that I talk, I promise you this, and you don't have to raise your hand, but you know who I'm talking to. There's somebody here tonight that is lost, broken, alone, living in regret, despair, or hopelessness. And I'm here to tell you that God makes all things new through His Son, Jesus Christ. And He makes all things possible. And He is in the business of turning tragedy into triumph. And He does use the broken things, I can promise you that. And that's why I'm here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. You know, as I was leaving UL Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns, has any of you guys heard of the Raging Cajuns? You got to watch those Cajuns now. They're swirling. They're a little bit crazy. But now they're like family to me. And in 2014, we were coming off a historic run with the Raging Cajuns. It's the summer of 2014, and we had just pulled off the seemingly impossible, where we became the first mid-major ever in the history of college baseball to finish the season as the consensus #1 ranked team in the nation in all 5 polls, which is an amazing feat considering when I got there in 2012, the team finished 23-30 and hit about 260 as a team. But we had this unbelievable run. We finished the year 58-10. Y'all know how hard it is to go 58-10? We never lost back-to-back games until the end of the year. We were 2 wins off the all-time record for wins in a season, which is 60. And we narrowly lost, and some of you in this room know this, and probably enjoy this, I don't, but we narrowly lost in the championship game of a super regional to Ole Miss, and missed our shot to go to Omaha. And so as our season was over, I was addressing the group of guys that I was in charge of one last time. And I was leaving. I just didn't know it yet. And so we were having what we call a pack meeting. And that's how I would address the hitters every single day. Kind of like this, just not in a room this big. I would address these guys every single day. And as I was addressing this pack one last time, tears in my eyes. This was family. This is as close as you can get to a team. God nudged my heart, literally. Some of you might think I'm crazy. He did. He nudged my heart. And as I'm talking, He says, "I'm going to take you and put you on just a little bit bigger stage." It scared me. I started looking around. And you got to understand this about me. There's still 2 wolves that live inside of here. A good one, and then there's a selfish, opportunistic, overly competitive one that's only out for himself. And as soon as the Lord nudged my heart and He says, "I'm going to take you and put you on just a little bit bigger stage," I thought, oh my God, I'm going back to coaching the SEC. But then He led me to Scripture, like He always does every time that He speaks to me. And He led me to Isaiah 43:1. It says, "Do not be afraid, for I have redeemed you." You guys have no idea where I come from. Do not be afraid, for I have redeemed you. I have summoned you. In other words, I have called you by name. You are mine. And now that my eyes are open, and I look around, and I step back, and I look at that press conference. That press conference, if you said, "Hey dude, here's $100, I want you to tell me word for word what you said at that press conference," I'd lose the $100. I've got no idea. It was just the Holy Spirit speaking through me. But I look at that press conference. That press conference has been viewed worldwide over 50 million plus times. And then I stand on stages like this and I look out at the audience and I think, wow, God's promises are real. This is the little bit bigger stage that he was talking about. That he can take and use the broken, and he can turn tragedy into triumph to share the story of his power, his love, and his redemption. Amen. It's crazy how that press conference even came into being. We were in the midst at Sam Houston State in the summer of 2017 of making this unbelievably historic run. We were living by this, it's only impossible until somebody does it. And we were just knocking off giants. See, we're on Team David, David and Goliath fame. You guys might be able to relate to me a little bit. And we were just knocking off big guys left and right. And we had gone to Texas Tech. Texas Tech was the number 3 ranked team in the nation. And at this regional is Texas Tech, and it's in Lubbock, the University of Arizona Wildcats, us, and another team. The Wildcats had narrowly beat us out of a regional the year before and then gone on to finish as the runner-up at the College World Series. And the first thing we do is we go beat the Wildcats 5-4 for a little redemption. And then we come out the next night and we lose to Texas Tech 6-0. It was a thorough butt beating. And it was ugly. It was so bad, I told the team afterwards, I lost my cool with them a little bit, and I told them, I said, look, if you're just happy to be here, let's pack up and go home right now. Because I don't know about you, but I didn't come here to be happy to be here. We came to win this thing, and this is how this is about to go down. We're going back to the hotel. We're going to get a good night's rest. We're going to refuel, rehydrate, get ready to go. We're coming out to the ballpark tomorrow. We're going to beat Arizona. Then we're going to beat Tech in their own house. We're going to push them to Monday, and let's see what happens. And I'll be darned, that's exactly the way it played out. We came out and got after Arizona 9-1 the next day, beat Texas Tech at their own field that night, and kind of put a little panic in them. And we came out that next day by the grace of God, and we beat those guys on their own ballpark 3-2 to advance to the schools and the conference's first ever super regional. We are 2 games away from doing the unthinkable, little bitty old Sam Houston State University, and walking collectively as a university, a program, a team, a region, a community through the gates of Omaha together. And so we wind up and find ourselves at Florida State in Tallahassee. And the thing about Florida State is this: Florida State has been to more College World Series than any team in the history of college baseball. And here we go against Florida State. They throw Tyler Holton at us. He's a first-team All-American. He's a lefty. And we have a game plan, and we come out and execute that game plan to a T. First thing we did was go out and score 5 runs off of them. We've got a 3-run lead in the 7th inning with 2 outs. And we've got Big D on the mound. You guys have any idea why we call it Big D? Because Big D goes about 6'3", 250, 260. Big D doesn't move around that great, but Big D can pitch, okay? So we got Big D on the mound. And Florida State is down 3, and we've got 2 outs. Leadoff hitter, Taylor Walls, he's our shortstop. He'll be in the big leagues. Comes up with 2 outs and lays down a left-handed drag bunt. And I thought, oh my God, because here goes Big D trying to chase down a drag bunt. And Big D ain't going to get over there. But we had him right where we wanted him. He was our guy in the 7th. Dom's coming in the 8th. Miko's going to close it in the 9th. All right, base runner on, 2 outs, no big deal. Then they pulled something off I've never seen before. 2 outs, 2 strikes on the next 4 hitters. Base hit up the middle, 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 tie ball game. And they walked us off in the 9th inning. We didn't blink, we didn't flinch, we didn't back up. We walked out of there, we knew. We had just done it in the regional. We knew we were coming back, we were winning 2, we were shocking them, and we were going to Omaha. We were that confident as a group. And so the next morning, I wake up and I'm doing my devotional in the hotel room. Kathy's laying in bed right beside me. Kids are in the next room. And it happens again. Lord nudges my heart. And he says, tell your story. Wow. See, I got a story. And he tells me, tell your story. And here I go with the selfishness again. The first thing I thought was, oh my God, I'll tell the whole thing as soon as we get to Omaha. I thought he was blessing us with a trip to Omaha, and he wanted that story on that stage. And he even led me to scripture, one of my favorite verses in the entire Bible, 1 Corinthians 1:27 through 29. For God uses the foolish things of the world to shame the wise, and the weak things to shame the strong, and the lowly things and the despised things to nullify the things that are and the things that have been, so that no one may boast. And I thought, wow. And I shared that scripture with the team, even on the bus as we headed to the ballpark. See, we were set to play at noon that day. But there was just a little bit of problem there. Because of rain and weather and delays. And see, this is what a lot of people don't know. At that level, when you get to that level of postseason baseball, the two teams and the umpires and the school, they don't make the call on times and weather, etc. It's all ESPN and television. And so we were set to start at noon. We had even saved our #1 pitcher and started a freshman in the first game. So we had an All-American to throw. His name was Heath Donica that next day. Problem is this, is we were supposed to start at noon and we didn't start till 8 o'clock that night. Heath wound up warming up 3 different times. And so I'm not the quickest guy in the world. I'm not the sharpest. But it wasn't until it wasn't 14-0, 15-0, 16-0, I'm walking through the dugout, and we're losing, by the way. 17-0, not 18-0, it's 19-0. Did the light bulb go off? And I thought to myself, oh wow, Lord, you want this right now. And he said, yeah. And so with that, me and 3 players went in that press conference room after suffering the most humiliating defeat in Sam Houston State postseason baseball history. And in the midst of defeat, we stood up and proclaimed love, passion, and victory in Jesus Christ. And what happened next was the capturing of hearts and minds across a nation. Because a bunch of guys were willing to stand up in the midst of defeat and proclaim what truly is important. And that is love, passion, hard work. It's not about the scoreboard. It's all about the journey. It's all about relationships. And it's all about building each other up. And that captured a nation. And it went on to be viewed, like I said, over 50 million times. And so the next day, we were set to leave Tallahassee. And as I woke up to head down to eat breakfast, we're going to have exit meetings. We're going to catch a charter flight, and then we're set to have exit meetings. Our season's over. And so I've got to meet with the team, and I've got to meet with every single player before they either head off to pro ball or head off for the summer. And so this next day is going to be gut-wrenching. This was a family. This is as tight as it gets. And that's the only way that we had done what we had done and pulled it off was through a tight-knit, unbreakable brotherhood. And as I headed down to breakfast in the hotel room in Tallahassee the next morning, one after another, one guy after another is coming up to me. Hey, Coach, did you see it? Hey, Coach, did you see it? Did I see what? Have you seen the video, Coach? What are you talking about? What video? Have you seen the press conference, Coach? It's viral. And you have to understand this about me. At the time, I knew nothing about social media. So I just knew this. Our team was a little bit wild, and they kept saying the word viral, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, what has happened? And they said, no, viral is good, Coach. Viral means that a lot of people have seen this video. Kirk Herbstreit, all these guys are tweeting out this video. It's crazy. All of us, we're all out there in this video. And that just didn't sit well with me at all. And so I pondered and just racked my brain the entire flight home of how I was going to address this. And so we got back to Huntsville. I sat them down in the team meeting room in the lounge. And I had somebody grab me a bottle of water. And I had them all sit down and I said, look at here. This truly is the last thing I ever said to that team. I said, hey guys, I had somebody get me a bottle of water. I don't have one, but I make believe I'm holding a bottle of water, okay? I said, hey guys, what is this? You got to know our team again, okay? That's a bottle of water, Coach. I said, yeah, you're right. Tell me what's in the bottle. That's water. I said, okay, now tell me about water. We need it? Yeah, that's great. You're real sharp. What else? We bathe in it, we shower in it, we swim in it, we drink it. I said, do we have to have water? Yes, sir, Coach, we do. And I said, well, let me ask you one last question. I said, can water save your life? Yes, sir. And then I asked our resident 4.0 student, Lance Miles, the kid that you see in the far left that's actually tearing up in the video. I love that kid. I love him so much. He went from playing second base to coaching for us. He's on our staff now. I said, hey, Lance. I asked Lance this question. I said, what is carrying the water? He said, that's plastic, Coach. Awesome. I said, now tell me this. How much is that plastic worth? Approximately 2 cents, Coach. Perfect. I said, then for the rest of your life, I want you to understand one thing. The stuff inside of that 2-cent plastic, that's the message that we were carrying, and that's the living water of Jesus Christ, and that will save your life. I said, but it wasn't about us. We're just a piece of 2-cent plastic that for some reason was chosen at that moment of time to stand up and defeat and proclaim the victory of Jesus. Don't ever forget that. That's right. You guys have to know this about me. I can go on record right now and say this comfortably. I'm probably the worst loser in this room. And it's bad, but it's gotten better. Hey, it's so bad. I kicked my wife out of our house over a game of Monopoly. When we were dating. Yeah, I would land on our little rinky-dink properties all night, like 15 bucks. I'd give her a 20, say keep the change. I was being cute. I was trying to build up low equity, actually. And I got down to $1 I needed. And I asked if I could borrow it, and she said, nope. And I kicked the board and said, get out. But I've gotten better over the years. So after these exit meetings, I'm distraught. And I head home, and I've got bad body language when I get to the house. And my 3 kids and wife can sniff it out like that. And the thing about body language is what? It doesn't whisper. What's it do? It screams. And I'm moping around, and I truly believe that God speaks through the children. And finally, my middle child, Claire Bear, God bless her, she looks at me, and she said, what's wrong, Daddy? And I said, what do you mean, what's wrong? We just lost the opportunity of a lifetime to go to Omaha. I've got no clue when that's coming back around. And then she said something that I will never, ever forget. She said, yeah, you may have lost on the scoreboard, and Florida State may have won, but nobody's still talking about Florida State. They're all still talking about you guys. You lost, but you really won, Daddy. And I thought, wow. Kids are amazing, aren't they? I like to say every time I speak, I've been around the block not once, but twice. I've been to the highest of the high mountains, and I have fallen butt over tea kettle all the way down the mountain and landed with a resounding thud. And I have learned that the same people you step on to get up that mountain are the same ones that you're going to pass on the way down that mountain. And what I mean by that is this, is I lived my life for the most part for many, many years as an arrogant, egotistical jerk that was an enemy, not only an enemy of the cross, but an enemy combatant of the cross. I thought that I had it all, but I actually had nothing. I was a hitting coach and recruiting coordinator at the University of Arkansas. I was the associate head coach at Texas A&M for almost 6 years. I'm probably one of only 3 or 4 guys in the country that has won an SEC championship and 5 Big 12 championships. Put together 2 different teams that have gone to Omaha. Been to a junior college World Series as well. At the age of 37, I was interviewing for one of your jobs here in state, the Mississippi State Bulldogs, for their head baseball coaching job. I thought I had it going on. But now I live